very clear that she wanted his items removed, and the exact opposite happened. She's refusing to comply with the order that she consented to under oath.
And explicitly refuse the third party's access to the property. I resent even being here. Your smug attitude about it's not my problem.
The bane of any judge these days is presiding over personal protection orders. Many times, a PPO hearing features a judge presiding over adults, applying third-grade problem-solving skills to their adult problems. This hearing is exactly that. The petitioner makes some wild allegations against the respondent, but no charges were ever filed. She also wants him to get all his property out of her house. The only problem is, she steadfastly refuses to let that happen, despite Judge Middleton's previous court orders. Yes, that's plural. I will warn you now that Judge Middleton nuked this stream before the finish, so turn away now if you hate unfinished business. I'm not sure their business is finished, no matter what Middleton said after the cut. Let me know in the comments why you think Judge Middleton nuked the feed. There are two competing theories. See the description to read about them. Let's roll, nerds.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You've got a really bright window behind you.
I know. Hold on one sec.
Well, better than nothing. All right. This is file number 25326PP. It is a personal protection order the court issued in the matter of Emily Hampton versus A.B. Thomas McWaters, Jr. Ms. Hampton is here and Mr. McWaters is here. This case has had a lot of attention paid to it. I issued the warrant, or the PPO, back in May. And as I stated on the PPO, I don't usually remove someone from the home with a personal protection order. There was an allegation of sexual assault and threats. As far as I could tell, no criminal charges have ever been made. The defendant denies those allegations, but and there was no lease. So I granted the order. The defendant asked to modify the order, and we had a considerable amount of discussion about trying to allow him to get the remainder of his property off the petitioner's property. And that didn't happen. So through respondent's counsel, Ashley Turner, they filed a motion in order to show cause why Emily Hampton should not be found in contempt for failing to allow the removal of the property. They're asking for attorney fees and any other sanctions the court feels are appropriate. Ashley Turner is here by Zoom. I did give her permission to appear by Zoom because every time she drives here, it's another billable period of time toward Mr. McWaters. So I did allow the Zoom appearance. The parties are here live. Ms. Turner, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ashley Turner appearing on behalf of the defendant, respondent, Mr. McWaters. We did have some requests prior to filing this request for a show cause where we asked to modify the PPO or to terminate it based on our belief of Ms. Hampton's lack of reasonable fear of my client and the fact that he needed to retrieve his items. I recall very specifically during the testimony that Ms. Hampton was very clear that she wanted his items removed. She was willing and able to appear at those times that we all agreed on in court. And the exact opposite happened, right? So I think my motion was very clear, is that she explicitly refused access to third parties. Law enforcement had issues with how the order was written. It happened again the second time, issues with how the order was written. Law enforcement, would not enforce the order for his right to remove that property. I think this kind of almost goes back to our original motion to terminate the PPO. This is not the behavior of someone who's in fear of my client, the respondent. She shorted him in, a substantial amount of cash, purposely withheld some of his child's furniture, I think is still in the home. and she's refusing to comply with the order that she consented to under oath. So really, this is actually, to me, a clear example as to what the purpose of show causes are for. And I'd be really interested to hear as to why she shouldn't be held in contempt from her point of view. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, first thing I'm going to do, Ms. Hampton and Mr. McWaters, will you both raise your right hand? You both swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief.
Absolutely. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, they are requesting that you be found in contempt. There needs to be an established proof in civil contempt beyond a preponderance of the evidence, and in criminal contempt beyond a reasonable doubt. In criminal contempt, you may well be eligible to have counsel appointed to represent you. I don't, at this point, envision criminal contempt. I envision civil contempt as the sanction if you are found to be in contempt. So I'm not going to appoint counsel, but you have a right to retain an attorney, which you've chosen not to do. I had hopes that this would be done with, and it wasn't. He contends that they were there ready to pick the property up and you wouldn't let them retrieve it. You were in here. We talked about it. I thought we had an arrangement. They were going to appear at a certain time and recover the property. And as Ms. Turner said you wanted this property off your property. There was a car and some other stuff. What happened?
So they did come to my house. The first time they came, there was no paperwork. I was not the one to call the officers. It was a third party who chose to call the officers. When they came, they said that there was no documentation.
Who's they?
The officers.
Yeah, but you were in here. You were sitting right there. And we made this agreement.
Getting their property.
All right. So did you allow them to recover property?
Yes.
All of it?
As much as I could before they called the police on me.
Who called the police?
Amos.
He's present, Your Honor.
Yes. All right. So were you there?
Yes.
All right. And they came to recover the property and you were allowing them to recover the property?
Yes.
Then what happened?
When they bombarded my door and went through with my son there,
What does that mean, bombarded the door?
my son opened the door and asked them to please wait until my mom got here because I left. It was 10:30 and I went to go to the gas station, come right back. And while I was gone, they came, pushed through the door and my son asked them, can you please wait until my mom comes home to come inside? There's plenty of things outside that they could obtain. Instead, they came in. They started moving things and my son called me crying. When I got
Well, I had an established time that you were supposed to be there, so that wasn't a great
Correct.
time for you to leave in the middle of when they were supposed to
Correct,
get it.
I
but-
understand that. Due to the fact that it was 10:30, I wasn't sure, had no documentation of whether, because I left early, I have no idea of whether the dates were changed or what was going on. So I went to the gas station and back. And in the meantime, that had happened. When I got there, I closed the door because my son was very upset, crying hysterically. They got property off of they got his property off of my property. And then called the cops because I told them that they can't go inside right now. My son was obviously upset.
How old is he?
16. So they continued to get his property off of mine.
Or did they get all of the outside property off the
Yes, I
property?
have documents. I have pictures of all of it. When they called the cops, they said, there is no documentation, so you need to leave. Amos had called AB and.
Well, there was an order, but
Yes.
apparently they didn't bring it with them. That order wasn't like filed in the computer, so the police wouldn't have had access to it.
Right, so they asked them to leave. They asked me if I wanted them to unload the trailers, and I told them no. They
Did
stood
they
there
ask
for
you?
about-
No, stop. Who asked if you want to run over?
Officers.
All right, so you said, no, go ahead and take the stuff you got.
Yes. And they actually stood around for about, I don't know, maybe a half hour or so. And then they said, we don't have time to be standing here waiting for you to move things. You guys just need to leave. I kept my mouth shut because I didn't have anything to say.
Those they were called and still are called civil standbys, where the cops would come and stand by while there was property being removed. They don't like them. They take a lot of their time and they're like, we got better things to do than sit here for 2 hours while you remove stuff. But
That's exactly what
they
they
did
said.
some of it. So according to what I understood, nothing was removed. So you're saying everything that was outside was obtained.
I have pictures to prove it.
All right, why don't you hand them to the officer?
Your Honor, I
Just
just
a minute.
want, okay.
And you're saying some things from the inside were obtained, but then someone called the cops and that stopped.
Yes.
All right. With that, Ms. Turner, what's your contention?
So there were some items from the outside lawn that was able to be removed. However, everything inside the outer buildings had new locks on them, and she would not allow entry into those. And they also did not retrieve everything from inside the home.
All right. There are some ancillary buildings outside of the house, pole barns and other things. So did they get anything out of the pole barns?
Yes, they did. If you look at the barns are wide open.
Well, they appear to be. They're hauling off. I'll get to you in a minute, Mr. McWaters. They're hauling off a 4x4 car body, some sort of a check stand or something, some furniture, a couch, washer and dryer, or washer,
No.
freezer maybe. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the picture. A car full of what looks appear to be clothing. The car keys to a GM. Something. Lots of clothing. A dog cage. More stuff packed into an automobile. Looks like medications. And here's a bunch of people kayaking on the river. Not sure what that's about. That may be in there by accident. Would you show those to Mr. McWaters? Now, what the show cause petition says. I'll start at paragraph 3. During the hearing on May 28th, petitioner Emily Hampton was placed under oath and testimony was taken. During that testimony, she testified that she wanted Mr. McWaters' items removed from her barns, home, and property. She continued to be available and willing to allow third parties to remove Mr. McWaters' items on Saturday, May 31st from 9 to 5. Paragraph 4, on May 31st, a group of individuals who were family members of Mr. McWaters came to Ms. Hampton's home. Upon entering the residence, the following items occurred. The parties associated with Mr. McWaters appeared at the home with vehicles, trailers, and towing equipment in order to remove all the items belonging to Mr. McWaters from the property. Ms. Hampton explicitly refused the third party's access to the property. Law enforcement was brought to the scene and law enforcement encouraged Ms. Hampton to allow the property to be removed, but she refused. Law enforcement refused to enforce Mr. McWaters' right to remove the property through the assistance of a third party. Well, that makes it sound like you got nothing out of there and you refused access to the property. Her sworn testimony with photographs is that you removed a bunch of stuff. She says you took everything from the outside, which makes paragraph 4 disingenuous. Paragraph 5. On June 7th, a group of individuals who were family members of Mr. McWaters came to Ms. Hampton's home. Upon coming to the residence, the following events occurred. The parties associated with Mr. McWaters appeared at them with vehicles, trailers, towing equipment. Ms. Hampton explicitly refused the third parties to enter the property. Law enforcement was brought to the scene and law enforcement, same thing. Making it sound like you got nothing. So were the pictures that you're showing, are they from May 31st?
There's a few from both.
All right, so they came on May 31st and again on June 7th. What happened on June 7th?
June 7th, I was gardening in my front yard. They came, they wanted to get the rest of the property. I said, that's fine. Like I said, I didn't say anything to anyone. I didn't want to cause any confrontation. Again, the police were called by Amos. And when the officer arrived, she asked me what was going on. I gave her the documentations. She went and talked to the third party. In the documentation, it did say A.B. McWaters, not A.B. McWaters Jr. A.B. McWaters told the cops that his name is Tom. So
He goes by Tom.
mhm. So she asked them to leave the property because the documentation wasn't correct. She asked me if I wanted them to unload their vehicles again, and I told them no. I was accused of locking all of my barns, which I did not do. There's one lock on one of my barns, and that exact barn has a garage door, sliding garage door he took the foam, well, him and I both took the foam down around it to be able to open it. It is not on the track, so you have to like pull it out and slide it open. It's very difficult to get open. So that's where they're coming at me with, I'm not giving them anything out of the shop or the red barn. That's inaccurate, but if you can't get it open, to me, I'm not saying anything. You should have spoken to TJ to where he could explain to you how to open it, because I can barely open it.
All right, well, the person that actually Brandy M. Monson for the plaintiff, if your testimony is truthful, these petitions aren't accurate. Mr. McWaters, you weren't there. So who was there? Your father?
My father.
Who goes by Tom. And Amos Klein
Yes, sir.
is your cousin?
No.
Just a friend?
I've divided these pictures out too a little bit.
All right.
This first file here were things that she contacted my ex-wife in the beginning of the PPO issuance to have my belongings removed. That's the Suburban with all the clothes in it and stuff. That was not received on either of those days.
All right, so that Suburban with the clothes in it was not recovered on May 31st?
No,
Where is that?
I have that. My ex-wife brought it to me.
All right, so that's recovered, but not on that day.
Correct. That was way prior to all this.
All right.
I believe it was May
And
13th.
then there's 4 photos here too of a car with the hood open.
Mhm.
If you look in those photos, you'll see my whole wall of tools that I'm trying to get out, and that is in the red barn. You can tell by the metal in this picture that it's the corrugated metal that's seen in this photo.
Well,
in this
why
photo
weren't
as
they able to
well.
get that stuff out?
I was told the door was chained shut with a new lock installed.
Just a minute.
All right.
All right, so did they haul off your 4x4 and that car body and the other stuff?
A 4x4 was removed, a car body was removed, a stand-up freezer, and a engine dolly and the couch. That is it, Your Honor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things.
What is still there?
Every one of my tools. Every tool in this picture right here that she supplied us with is still there, to the best of my knowledge.
All right,
All
what
my-
building are they in?
The red barn.
And it has a entry door, a human
It
door?
has a man door and a drive-through door.
All right, and which door was locked with a chain?
I believe I wasn't there.
All right, well,
This is just what I was told as to why they couldn't get in.
all right. Mr. Klein, would you come up to the podium, please? Well, in fact, why don't you come right here in the witness box? Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief.
Yes, sir.
Have a seat if you would and state your name.
I'm Amos Klein. I'm TJ's man.
And were you one of the people that went to this property on Lang Road on May 31st to recover property?
I am.
Did you also go back on June 7th?
Yes.
On May 31st, did you call the police?
I did not. TJ's aunt actually called the cops.
All right, who was that?
Debbie,
Rebecca Seacard.
there we go. I'm thinking of Debbie's aunt. Sorry.
All right, I see Amy's dad and some others in the picture. What were you able to recover on May 31st?
Vehicles on the outside, the freezer, the lawnmower. I think we grabbed a couple of the kayaks that were outside. Some of them weren't there that he owns.
Did you recover any property from inside the house?
Half of a couch.
All right, what happened? Were you prevented from, her testimony was her son was there, he was quite upset. He wanted her to come back.
We knocked on the door, he came. I told him the situation about how there was a court order to recover TJ's property and stuff like that. And he was like, all right. I was like, can we come in and confirm a few things? He said, let me call my mom. He let me and his daughter come in to confirm that her dresser was there, the couch was there, and a few other things. He got his mom on the phone and she asked me to leave the house. So I went back outside. She hung up on me and called him right back. Yelling, screaming, grounded him. This is why he was pretty upset and crying. And at that point, Mr. McWaters asked him, well, now that you're in trouble, can we come in and start collecting this thing?
By Mr. McWaters, you're talking about Tom?
Yeah. And he said, yeah, sure. He went up to his room. At that point, we went in, grabbed his daughter's dresser and half the couch, and Emily showed up and shut the door behind us. That's all we were able to recover out of the inside on the 31st.
All right, what about the stuff in the red barn?
We've never been able to get any other doors open. I personally haven't been the guy to check the garage or barn. He's not here. Brandon's not here. Yeah, we haven't recovered anything really inside.
All right, you don't even know what's in there.
I do know what's in there. I've known TJ for
Okay,
20
so
some
you've
years.
seen what's in the barn.
Yeah, I've used the tools with him on the cars in the barn, so. I helped him move half that stuff in there.
Did you try to open the sliding door?
It didn't budge. With officers present, I'm not trying to force my way inside anybody's property while they're pretty
And,
much telling us
and
no.
was it locked with a chain?
From the inside, I think so. It was tied with a wire or a chain or something. The entry door, the man door, was padlocked. We don't have keys for it. We can't just cut locks off without permission.
All right, what happened then? So at some point you took the property you had and left.
Yeah. The cops wanted us to leave. She didn't want us there. We didn't want anybody getting arrested for just, trying to grab somebody's stuff. So we left.
All right, tell me about what happened when you went back on June 7th.
I really don't even remember what we recovered. I don't think we got anything. She didn't let us inside. I think we grabbed. I don't really remember what we grabbed. I don't feel like we got anything outside. What were the pictures of?
All right, well, I'll get to that in a minute. All right, so, the petition makes it sound like they didn't get anything. She makes it sound like they got everything. So the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. And I'm disappointed that we didn't accomplish this, so these two people wouldn't have to deal with each other. All right. Were you able to get into the red barn on the 7th?
No, same thing. No key to the lock. No, we're enforcing entry. Officer asked us to leave. Take what we were able to get, which is probably only a few things. I feel we got something that day. What is good?
Ms. Turner, do you have any questions for Mr. Klein?
No, not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Klein, you can step down. Tom A.B. McWaters Sr., would you come forward, please? You please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief.
Yes, sir.
All right, have a seat and state your name for the record, please.
A.B. Thomas McWaters Senior.
You go by Tom.
Yes, sir.
Were you present at this property on Lang Road on May 31st?
Yes, sir, I was.
We heard the testimony of Amos Klein about the things that were recovered. You have to speak your answer.
Yes.
All right, so you heard what he said. Do you agree with what you recovered that day?
Yes, we didn't get the car that day. We got that on June 7th
sorry.
or whatever. But
Well, what happened on the 31st that prohibited you from recovering the remainder of the property?
well, when we got there, she wasn't there. The son answered the door. Amos talked to him. He let us in. I walked into, I guess, what was TJ's room. I ended up walking back out, and then, so I don't know what they got out of the house. Then he called her son, he called Emily, and she told me she was upset. So we were all supposed to leave out of there, and then he was upset because he was getting grounded for letting us do what we were there to do. So then I asked him if it was all right to enter the house since he was already grounded, and he said sure and took off. And I turned around and went outside towards the barns, and Amos and everybody else that was there to help in the house went in. And I seen parts of the couches and the dresser and the freezer.
All right, did you know that your son had a large number of tools inside that red barn?
I know he told me yes.
Did you have been in it?
No, sir.
Did you try to get in it?
Yes, sir. It was shut with a cable, wire cable, and a lock, and the entry door was locked. It needed a key, I guess.
When you
And I
say
have bolt cutters, but I
that was,
thought it was probably not wise to use them.
that was probably wise. You get smarter when you get older.
Yes, sir.
So you're saying that the sliding door was locked with a cable and a lock?
Yes, the cable was on the inside and the lock was on the outside.
Did you ever ask Miss Hampton to unlock the door?
Oh, she wasn't going to.
Yeah, all right. She wanted you to leave. All right. Now, what about going back on June 7th?
On June 7th, we showed up. That's when we got the car frame. I think maybe his lawnmower that was apparently missing a couple parts. We wasn't able to get a lot before
So
there was a
what stopped it
discrepancy
on,
with the senior, junior.
whether you were,
Yeah, because I same name, just it didn't say senior or junior.
so who was the discrepancy with? The police?
Just Hampton and the place, yes.
Oh, she wouldn't do it because,
Yes, no, she was the one probably pointed it all out.
well, it was supposed to be third-party agents, and that's what you guys were. Anyway, you weren't able to get in the Red Barn on that day.
No, sir.
Ms. Turner, do you have any questions for Mr. McWaters Senior?
I do, if you don't mind, Your Honor.
No, go ahead.
Mr. McWaters Senior, were there any other areas that you needed to access besides the red barn and inside the house?
As far as I know, everything else was gotten, that was outside, just not in the red barn and whatever he had in the house.
Thank you. In regards to June 7th, when you arrived, was Ms. Hampton present?
Yes,
Okay. Did she ever come out and speak to any of you?
she came out and spoke to someone, yes, wasn't me.
Were you asked to leave at that point?
After the police had showed up, then we were asked to. We was able to finish loading up the car frame, the Pontiac, and the lawnmower. Whatever was loaded, that's what we got. Again, no access to the house or to the red
All
barn.
right, thank you, Mr. McWaters. No further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Hampton, do you have any questions for Mr. McWaters?
Well, I'm wondering why you're telling me or stating that I was the one that wouldn't allow you guys in. I didn't speak to anyone. Nobody. I sat there and gardened the entire time. And every piece of the property that was in my home that belonged to him was on the front porch.
Again, I didn't go in the house.
All right.
Well, Amos and Brandon are the ones that moved the couch off the front porch. The freezer, the dryer, they moved that as well. They didn't move the lawnmower on that day. They moved it on the first time.
Well, and again, this is
This
stuff
is
you
all
wanted
back and forth.
off the property. Mr. McWaters, you can go have a seat. All right, so.
Your
Amy
Honor?
Junior- Oh, yes,
I was going to ask if I was going to get an opportunity to ask questions of the petitioner.
all right, I'm sorry, please resume your seat. She's got more questions for you.
No, the petitioner, Ms. Hampton.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask her some questions too, but
Okay.
why don't you go ahead and you ask?
Okay. Ms. Hampton, in regards to June 7th, you said you were out in the garden at the time when individuals arrived.
Yes,
Did you speak to anybody when they arrived?
I did not speak to anyone when they arrived.
Did you speak to anyone later on?
As they were leaving, after the police got there and they were loading up the couch, because I still allowed them to take the belongings after the police got there and told them to leave. I said, Brandon and Kyle, which is the third party that I know, they asked me how I was doing, said the best I can, just small talk, and that was it. Those are the only
Did you
people I
ever,
spoke to.
did you ever interact with the police officers that day?
Yes,
Okay. What did you discuss with the police officers?
I showed them the restraining order and the documentation.
When you say documentation, are you referring to the court order that allowed my client to retrieve property?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you showed them that, did you mention that you had agreed in court to allow him to be there that day?
Yes, ma'am. Had I not,
And
he wouldn't
so,
have that he took with him.
sorry, what was that?
I said, had I not, he wouldn't have any property that he took with him.
Well, I'm wondering, Ms. Hampton, why the police asked him to leave if you confirmed that he was allowed to be there?
I am not the police officer. I cannot answer that. You can ask the officer that.
Do you know who called the police on June 7th?
If I'm not mistaken, it was Amos.
Did you at any point tell Amos that you didn't want him on the property?
No, ma'am.
Did you at any point tell the police officers that they could stay on the property?
I told them they could retrieve the things that they were getting. Yes, even after the officer came, I still allowed them to take the stuff that was on the porch and the stuff, and the dryer and the freezer that was next to the house. I removed all the property outside, therefore there was no reason to go inside. As a matter of fact, I was in contact with the mother of his child, and she came to my home.
Ms. Hampton, I'm going to interrupt you as your answer's being non-responsive to my question.
Just try to answer the question.
So was the red barn locked when the third parties came on June 7th?
The door was, the barn, I can't even move. I could have told him how to do it, but I refused to speak because I'm not trying to have any more confrontation than what I already have.
Okay, so were you aware that my client had items in the red barn?
Yes, ma'am.
So why didn't you give them access to inside of the red barn? Why was it locked?
There was access because they could not get in. It was not, that doesn't concern me. He should have, the AV should have let them know how to open that, and then they could have went from there.
So they should have cut the lock, the chain is what you're saying?
No, ma'am. What I'm saying is if the door is not on track, you have to pull it out, push it, and have amount of force to push it. I can barely get it open just to slide through.
Knowing that it's difficult to move that door, why didn't you unlock the second door?
Because I have property in there for my pool. I have my sister's property. I have my friend's property, all in that side of the barn. There was no reason for them to go in that side.
No further questions. Your Honor.
Stop. That's really weak. I resent even being here. This should have been accomplished on the 31st, should have been accomplished on the 7th. Your smug attitude about it's not my problem means we have to even be here. The most valuable stuff that was there is probably the side-by-side and the tools. An old dresser, an old couch. I wish that, I don't know, I'm not sure why Mr. Klein called the police. I didn't ask him on either occasion. Not my problem. It's like, yes, it is your problem. I had a court order that he'd be allowed to come remove the property.
Fair enough.
And so now we're dinking around with this.
Your Honor, this is my daughter's bed.
Yeah.
These are the tools that I make a living with.
Yes, don't worry. It's not your turn to testify.
Sorry.
All right, I'll let Ms. Turner finish with Ms. Hampton, if you have further questions.
No, I had to stop there, Your Honor. I think I've made my point.
All right. Mr. McWaters, what is still there that belongs to you that you wish to recover?
That's not my dryer in the picture. I'd like my daughter's bed. I'd like the 70-inch TV.
Where's your daughter's bed?
As far as I know, it's still in the house in their bedroom. It was the first day they went. They weren't allowed inside the second day, I don't think. I need my tools. I need my personal effects.
All right, tell me about what we're talking about, tools.
tools, probably 100 screwdrivers, probably 150 box end wrenches, a pile of pneumatic tools as far as impacts, grinders, sanders, pneumatic wrenches, ratchets, by a big black standing toolbox that's chest high on me. I have a yellow one from Harbor Freight that's mid to the bottom of my ribs high on me.
Right, and all that stuff is in the red barn.
All that stuff is in the red barn, Your Honor, as seen in photos she provided. And
I
then,
have no use
All
for
right,
the
well,
tools.
I don't disagree. There's a euphemism for ugly, petty divorces. It's called people are arguing about the Tupperware. They're arguing over the Tupperware.
but Your
The
Honor,
stuff in the house is Tupperware.
yes,
Your tools are valuable. She has no use for them. She wants to get rid of them. Her attitude is, hey, not my problem. They're asking you to pay $1,500 for them having to come here and have this hearing.
Your Honor, may I
Yes,
say something?
yes,
This PPO is because I got raped.
I
I've been
understand.
traumatized. I've had to have therapy. I'm going through a lot. I'm scared for myself and my child. And now it has become into an itemized, I want my belongings,
Yes,
completely disregarding the initial reason that we were in this.
and I
And
authorize
I'm
it.
sorry.
I
that
authorized the
sent-
PPO because of the allegation of sexual assault. Apparently I was never charged, so there's no criminal charge. I don't know what happened to that.
I have
So that's your contention. All I'm trying to do is separate the two of you so I don't have to have any contact with each other. And you knew what was in there, thousands of dollars worth of tools that he wants to get out of there. And they made two efforts to do it and weren't able to accomplish it. Yes?
The reason why I feel like I shouldn't have to open up the door and do all these things for them is because I have gone through so much. Why do I have to assist them? Why is that something that I should have to do? When I'm already dealing with trauma, I'm already trying to cooperate, the cops are being called, it's being intrusive on top of it. I'm a little frustrated, yes. So if you do think that I have a bad demeanor, I do apologize for that. But at this time, I'm going through a lot. And for me to assist them, I've already done enough. When I packed up all of his belongings into the car, I moved out all the belongings in my home. I let his ex-wife walk through my home and get everything that Taylor belongs, all of her, everything. And I text messaged to prove that. I have nothing that I don't want any of this stuff.
I know,
I'm
that's
also-
why I wish you would help facilitate him removing the stuff. We wouldn't be here. There wouldn't be any more reason to argue about it. There wouldn't be any more reason to poke at this scab.
And I understand that, and I agree with you, but when I'm being bombarded by 6 men and they are all wanting me to open this door for them or do whatever, let them in the home or whatever they're asking me to, I'm feeling threatened. I
You-
just got raped by this
You
man.
agreed to it. You
I
agreed.
did, and you're right.
You agreed
I
that
also-
third-party people could come remove this stuff. Some of
Absolutely.
it's heavy.
So what I'm saying is, had they not called the police, maybe we could have gotten somewhere, but
Probably
instead it was an aggressive and calling the police on me. I can't go, what am I supposed to do when the cops get there? I
Well,
told them they could take the belongings that they had. The officers don't want to stay there and watch them move things. I can barely open that barn door. He's the one that can open it. I'm sure you are aware with Monty and his barns, they're not.
Barney's rinky-dink operations.
Thank you, yes, and it is hard to open that door. Like I said, I can physically open it about this big. Yes, his belongings are in there, absolutely. He can get all of those belongings, but I'm not going to assist with this